So we were just tossing ideas back and forth, and that's where RV Unplugged came from. Coconut rum and Diet Coke.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
two
crazy campers.
And after losing a combined weight of more than 200 pounds,
we realized we had so much more energy for activities.
Come along with us as we explore the great outdoors.
And join us on a brand new adventure.
To our living room.
Yes, welcome to our living room. Isn't this what an adult living room should look like?
So welcome to the Two Crazy Ketos studio, which literally is
front of our
the
house.
front room of our house. Like you walk in, our front door is right there. You walk in the door and ta-da, you're sitting in our studio. And why are we in our keto studio for a camping channel?
Because we are going to be interviewing some amazing people who kind of also straddle both subject areas that we're going to discuss today. We're going to be chatting with Todd and Tony from RV Unplugged, the host, the creator, the director, all the things from RV Unplugged, who are both RVers themselves. So I think that fits for Two Crazy Campers. And they're also practicing a keto carnivore lifestyle.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, we are actually contestants on season 2 of RV Unplugged.
So
we
excited.
filmed it the first 2 weeks of February. It has been so hard to not tell everybody what happened. And it has been a long few months since we stopped filming. And we're so excited that the first episode is actually airing in less than 2 weeks from when we're actually recording this podcast. But just in case somebody has been under a rock and they don't know what RV Unplugged is, what is RV Unplugged?
RV Unplugged is a reality show. It's kind of a little bit like Survivor. It reminds me of Survivor, but it's with RVers. So you're going to unplug yourself and you've got to come with just like the water that you have. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have any electricity. You can have some solar if that's something, because you know that's what you would have if you're an RV.
Whatever you would do when you were boondocking.
The food that you would have packed for a boondocking trip. And for 2 weeks, 10 couples or 10 partners in this are going to duke it out for the final $25,000 pot.
Yeah. So today we actually get to have Todd and Tony, the creators. So let's just bring them in.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, thank you for allowing us to come on the show. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
We absolutely loved hanging out with you on the set of RV Unplugged season 2. But let's back up a little bit and find out, first of all, how do you guys know each other? And then how did RV Unplugged, where was that born from?
Well, Todd was spamming my Facebook group years and years ago. And I reached out to him and was like, hey, man, stop spamming my Facebook group.
He's my own.
And we ended up hitting it off. We made a couple calls, and then I decided to drive to Texas and visit him. And, he just seemed like a really cool guy and smart. And, we had the same interests. And the last time I went to visit them, because I was working as a touring sound engineer, and I got laid off while I was literally at the camp. And that's how I ended up working at the school Todd works at. And, we started working on other video projects, our NRVTA channel, and we just seemed to work really well together. And that's really the 30-second version of it.
Is that how it went down, Todd?
Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't know I was spamming it. I was providing good content, as any content creator would do, right? If you make good content, you want to share it, and say, there's no way that I can keep this to myself. So let me share it with the masses. And he had a pretty successful RV group, and I didn't spam it. It was once a week I would send something out.
Well, I think what was happening is as a content creator myself, I was just jealous of the quality, and I didn't want it on my channel anymore because it was shadowing me. So I had to put a stop to it. And then I called him and I was like, man, I kind of like this guy. He's kind of cool. We ended up actually, we started a business before we even met each other.
Yeah.
We were in
Wow.
business with each other. And I went to meet him the first time. We had an LLC together. So that's, you want to talk about hitting it off. That's how we hit it off.
And it's interesting because I say to Rachel all the time, I can't read Todd. You don't know. He's like the biggest jokester when you get to know him, but he looks serious. And you're like, does he like me? Like, is he angry? Is he sad? You just don't know.
I think you have to have that game face. You actually have a background in sports as well, Todd. Is that true?
Yeah, I played sports, semi-pro and Canadian League till around 30-ish, 30, 34. And then decided, well, this is as high as I'm getting with this thing. So let me go find something else to do. I will say, kind of like the Hulk. I'm always angry. It just looks like I'm not.
I love it. So in getting together and like hanging out, you not only work together, but you also like hung out together like after hours and even camped together because you guys are actually RVers yourselves.
Right.
When we first got together, yeah. What was weird was I think it was within the first year COVID hit. And so we were isolated at our campground that we were all staying at. And so it was like we would work all day and then we would hang out in the evenings. And we're both not keto. We're carnivores, as you could tell by our beards. Well, at least one of us. Anyways, we weren't so carnivore then. There was a lot of
Rum.
extracurricular drinking. Yes. He introduced coconut rum to me. And that changed my life. I had an aha moment. It was great. And so we were just tossing ideas back and forth. And that's where RV Unplugged came from. Coconut rum and Diet Coke.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Well, I mean, we have like partied and come up with ideas like you do when
We
you're
run a YouTube channel.
when you're relaxing, right? We know that you have some crazy ideas, but they don't often actually come to the marketplace. Like, how did you move that drinking conversation into an actual tangible show?
Between Todd and I, there's just a lot of tenacity. I mean, if we want to do something, we're going to do it. And my dad, when I was younger, he instilled this saying: if anybody else can do it, there's no reason why you can't. These types of things aren't reserved for specialists. You can do anything you want if you just do it. And so Todd and I, we've never looked at anything and go, well, that's not in our wheelhouse. We look at it and go like, well, we'll figure it out as we go.
So whose idea was that?
It was a combination. It was something that I was thinking about doing with another group earlier on. And, like everything we do, if I bring something up or if Todd brings something up, it always becomes 10 times better once we start spitballing back and forth because Todd's got so many amazing ideas. And, I love to just sit there and listen and, vice versa. We just kind of come up with these ideas together. Alone, I think we could do great things, but together we could conquer the world.
Yeah, I think we have a good team that put everything together. Same thing. The same team is what really developed or took the school and made it what it is today. So, and I will tell you, for me, it's one of those things. I've always had big dreams, and I was always put in a box. Whether it was working for a business or something like that, you had to conform to that business. Conform a certain look, whatever it is. But you always had these big dreams, and you're just like, there's no way I can do it. And then, finally later in life, I just said, you know what? Forget what everyone else thinks. Forget what everyone else is telling me. I'm just going to do it. And I've kind of had an epiphany. Same thing with my kids. I told them the same thing. Whatever you want to do, let's do it. But let's figure out how you're going to get there. So, it's one of those things late in life. Hate being told I can and can't do things. And so more out of spite than anything else. When someone says you can't do it, I'm going to do it.
Well, the team thing, you hit a good point. Season one, it was a lot of Todd and I, and then of course Phil and Stacy were helping us out as
Yeah.
coaches. Looking back now that we have Todd's wife Stephanie and Rob Boyer on, I don't know how we pulled off season one without him.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny looking back, but it did allow us to be able to kind of stay in different zones and be creative, get the games down, find the sponsors. We all had our own tasks to do, and splitting that up really helped us elevate season two to a whole new level.
What about reality shows appealed to you, and where did you think that you could make a reality show even better than maybe the shows that you had been a fan of?
See, what's funny is Todd and I have two different answers to this question, because he actually loves reality shows. I love seeing people overcome. And to me, this was more about putting people in situations because, I lived in an RV for almost 4 years. We traveled everywhere, and there was things I was able to do that I just couldn't do if I didn't live that lifestyle. But you can take it a step further. You can live in an RV and still have a sedentary life and not experience certain things because maybe you're too afraid to go out of your comfort zone. And so for me, I thought this was a great way to show people that there's a lot more you could do now that you have a tool to take you different places. Why not experience all these different things? And watching, we had so many overcoming moments in season one and season two. There were tears shed because people were able to overcome and do things that they never thought they'd be able to do. It's funny when you dangle $25,000 in front of somebody, how fast they'll jump off a boat or out of a plane. So for me, that's really what I was looking at.
I think for me, I love any type of competition. And the thing about reality TV shows, most of them are not fully scripted. And so you actually get to see a lot of the raw emotion. But just as Tony said, same thing, the opportunity to overcome is something that is very appealing. And quite honestly, for me, there's always what I've learned through the journey of any type of show where I'm watching. Apologize, my dogs are going crazy right now. So anyway, the evolution of watching a competition show, whenever there's certain people you're rooting for, and then others you're like, oh, let's get them off, let's figure out a way to get them off, and they don't get voted off, or they keep winning, and I end up rooting for them because my first instinct was I didn't like their gameplay, but then they are so good at what they do. I'm like, what? Kudos. I like your gameplay. So I kind of, it's one of those things. I go in with a set of expectations watching a show, and I'm always dumbfounded that by the end of it, I'm like, wow, I really like them. I thought they would be great, maybe not so much. So it's really kind of fun, having that self-assessment after the show.
So you mentioned that you come up with these ideas and start doing it. And Rachel always gets on me because if I even mention that I want to do something, she's like, oh, great. There's going to be like a new truck here. Because if I even start thinking about it, it's going to happen. What did your wives think when you came up with this idea?
I think we're both very fortunate that we have wives that just believe 100% in us, and that, I think we fail gracefully, and they're right behind us saying, you know what, you guys gave it everything you had. But luckily we haven't had to experience that yet. I love the support of our wives. And, of course, Stephanie is just as much a part of what Todd and I do on a daily basis. So, she's 100% in because we need her to be, she's like the mom of the group, really keeps us in check.
So we had season one, and we loved season one. And we actually found season one because we watch Todd's Tech Tip Tuesdays.
It's so good.
And, I've learned so many different things from watching those little clips that you put out on Tuesday. I actually do not watch it for the bloopers at the end.
I love
think there's
the bloopers.
Amazing information in there. So we had that show, and so you have season one, and season one was good. At least I thought it was good. Now you guys have talked about you don't know how you pulled it off. What changed from season one to season two? Because I know a lot of our subscribers have watched season one, and I keep telling them, listen, if you like season 1, you're going to love season 2.
Because they're like, it can't get any better than this. But I assured them that it is going to be even better just from all of the production and crew that we saw on the set. Like, it was just an amazing amount of experts, like at the top of their game, like in the videography of this. So it's going to be even better, guys.
So what changed?
Well, I'll take the production directing side, and then I'll toss it to Todd, because pretty much, I mean, how much time do we have? Everything changed. Season 1 we self-funded. It was a concept. We bought 2 Canon camcorders, and Todd bought a Blackmagic Ursa, and that was the entirety of our production equipment. And we took some stuff from this, that Todd and I personally purchased, some mics and stuff. And the crew had never done a production like that before. And what we ended up doing, because of our, the lack of time, every day, we had to kind of just run and gun. And, to be honest, what I learned the most on season 1 was we can't just document what's happening. You have to reenact certain things. Let the game play out, and then you have to go back and get some other shots. You have to get drone footage. You have to get some stabilization. Production value is going to be night and day. Bringing in an actual Emmy award-winning production team was probably the best move we could have made. It allowed me to step back and not have to worry about the camera guys. And also the editing. We did the editing the first time, and the editor has never put together a storyline like that before. Mm-hmm. And although he did a good job, it wasn't exactly what we wanted how we wanted it to turn out. But by the time we got it close to done, we had to get it live, because that's what we said we were going to do. And so we ran out of time. And so it wasn't bad, it's good. I think it's good. But when I'm comparing it to what's about to come out, I wish I had a do-over.
As a content creator, I think we all kind of feel the same way. You look at your first couple episodes, seasons, whatever they may be, and you're completely embarrassed by them, right? Because there's a growth to it. However, again, I think that also helps answer the previous question is, how did you guys do this? Well, you just go out there and you start, and you learn along the way, right? So, I think the same thing. As Tony was saying, the production crew totally helped out and moves Tony over to being the director, with plotting and even writing. And I think for us in season 1, the cast definitely carried us. Right. They were super willing to help out and gave it their all. When we say season 1, compared to season 2, we're saying season 2 is so great. Nothing to do with the cast. The cast was freaking amazing in helping us out, and they delivered. So from there, in season 2, we're like, okay, we have a great cast. We're going to try that for season 2. And season 2 cast will, bring, their A game. And then from there, it allows us to refocus as well. So, the games are bigger, more grandiose. Having a location instead of a field, even though we're in a field where this is taking place, we got
a different field.
Yeah, a different field. A Florida field versus a Texas field. There's so much more when it comes to this, where, in season 2, it was more about, what if we could pull this off? What if we could pull this off? All right, let's see if we can do it. And so that's what you'll see in each season, right? It'll always be, how do we top the previous seasons? So again, that'd be the goal. Because anytime you say, if we could just be the same, then no one, I don't think anyone would want to watch it.
So to get kind of like a behind the scenes thought process, while, we're kind of biased as far as, what it was like to be in the cast, But like here you are behind the scenes, and it had to be like wrangling cats. Like there's so many different personalities, and you guys came to be host and director, but you had to be like nursemaid to us, and like the emotions are high. You have to be a little bit of a counselor. I know we did have Phil and Stacy were fantastic coaches for this, and they kind of helped to shoulder some of that, you know, day-to-day help when emotions are high and, you know, people aren't sure if they can meet the next challenge that's being asked of them. But for you guys are the most personable people that I've ever met, and yet you gotta like kind of be tough with us a little bit because you've got to challenge us. What was that like on your end?
The nice part is, you know, for me, you know, I have a Todd. So if anything goes south, I just, hey, come here, I need your help. But, you know, honestly, I think communication is what we set out to make sure we get across to everybody. Like in the pre-production meeting, you know, we said emotions will start, you know, there's going to be some clashes down the road. We said on day 3, you know, things are going to get weird. When there's that much money on the line, you can't expect everybody just to be kumbaya all the time. There's going to be people that are, you know, because it's life-changing money. There's going to be people that are going to kind of show that, you know, they really want it. And, you know, sometimes there would be times where I'd have to pull somebody aside and say, hey, it's trust me on this. It's not worth it. Just let it go. Just play along. It's going to be okay. This isn't one of those times where you really need to, you know, show your butt. You know, because it was really hard because we want to have drama. So when it comes down to it, we want all you people, all you viewers to kind of rally behind the RV Unplugged crew because we are you guys. We're the RV community. We want to build this thing together with y'all. We don't want to have any kind of division or you know, tear people down or have people hate on other people because of the show. So it's really hard. You want to have some drama, but we also want to show that there's resolve. You know, we're all going to get along at the end, and that's not an easy task.
It was hard. You know, people have asked us, like, would we do it again? And I would absolutely do it again. I had a blast. But going into it as two people who had never boondocked more than like one night, we were worried. We kept for a year, we were like, okay, we're going to go out and practice. But our schedule never allowed us to practice. So we showed up and we're like, we don't know what to expect. And we really thought that the camping aspect would be hard. And we thought it would be hard for us. You know, I'm 53 years old and, you know, we were both morbidly obese, well over 300 pounds for both of us. And so I was like, are we going to be able to do these games? When you look at some of the other contestants, especially when the pre-show came out and people are like, I've been working out for months and hurling like, things.
Oh,
and
no.
we're like, yeah, we haven't done any of that. The hardest aspect, no, the hardest aspect of this game was the emotional part. That was the absolute hardest part. And people will ask, there's no way you get that close that quickly. You get that close that quickly. Like by the second day, you felt like you were with family and you didn't want to vote anybody off. And then you add in, you forgot the mics were there. Like, you know, as somebody who would watch Big Brother and watch Survivor and be like, why would they do that? Like they know they're being, you forget they're there. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like I would go to Rachel and be like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And then we started thinking like 2 days later, was the mic recording when I said that?
Well, how many times did you come back from the bathroom and you're like, oh, dang it, my mic was on. I bet that must be fun. Not the bathroom part, but like other things where you come back and do you think when you're looking at videos like those people just forgot the mic was on?
There's a lot of things that are said off camera that other people would put on, but we're not going to. There's things said about us that, you know, it happens, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, and we don't hold that against anybody. You know, I don't know how I would react if I was competing for that much money. Yeah. You know, I'd be pushing people. But, you know, what's funny is when you mentioned the emotional stuff. That video y'all put out about what you ate every day, it was so funny because I was watching day one, we're having this, and this. And then you get to like day 4 and 5, you're like, yeah, I don't have time to eat.
Who cares
Day
what we
5, I'm
eat?
eating garbage, whatever, eating your brick bars and stuff. It was funny how it is taxing. It's a lot. It is a packed 2 weeks, not just for the competition, but for filming the show. It's a lot.
Another thing that you've changed from season 1 to season 2 is the cast. So season 1 was just like YouTubers, content creators. Now season 2, you mixed it up a little bit.
Yeah. So the thought is, again, say with the game, is you want the viewer to think about trying out. Right. I watched so many seasons, so many years of Amazing Race going, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. One of these days I'm going to try out. Right. And then I see them, maybe in a third world country, tightrope walking between buildings. I'm like, nope, I'm out. So the thought was, well, let's add in non-influencers, RVers of all sorts. So that way the viewer can actually say, you know what? We can do this, because that's what the show's about, right? The show's about RVers. It's for RVers, but it's also for those who are not in the RV industry who may be looking at, maybe jumping over and saying, I want to be in the RV lifestyle, I should say, not industry, but lifestyle. So absolutely. And we'll probably kind of continue down that path, but we'll have more and more everyday RVers, and then possibly, just bring in additional influencers for special occasions, coaches. There always is an opportunity for having a season of previous contestants coming on and competing, favorites, so basically we're going to look at what the viewers want. And if that's something that, kind of jives with what we're doing, that's what we're going to provide.
Well, and when you talk about emotion, how many of us would say, like, we need to get one of those shirts? It's like, I'm sorry for what I said when we were backing up the RV, right? Like, there's always things that happen, even when we're like traveling from one place to another. You're arguing over the map, and you're arguing over what to do. So, there is an adventure aspect to RVing already, like that you don't realize that you are trying to work with your partner. If you RV with somebody, your spouse or friends or whatever, like there is some overcoming aspects to just regular RVing. So I love that you've brought the spirit of that into this. Obviously if you go to a campground, no one's going to vote you out, which is good.
They may.
They may. I know it.
Usually what will happen is they'll just mysteriously disappear in the night, and like you'll wake up and there won't be that RVer. And that's probably an indication that they were like, yeah, no, it was you as a neighbor. But for the most part, you're not going to get voted off, but you do have the opportunity to challenge yourselves to explore that area around. So talk a little bit more about how you have personally seen RVers that don't leave their campground. Why do you think that is?
It's the same question I have, right? And I think that was part of the show, is to dispel the perception that you're selling your home and you're just going to stay within a 400 square foot or less box, right? RVing is about adventure, and with adventure has challenges, and that's kind of the whole concept of the games that we have. We have games that are straight up adventure, things that you never thought about doing, that pushes you out of your comfort zone. And then you have challenges, things that you didn't plan on, obstacles that you have to overcome. But in all of those are experiences, right? And I know that there's a lot of cliches out there, collect experiences, not things, whatever there may be. But that's the whole concept. And it's the same thing. Now, I know for short periods, I like to just go to a wonderful place and do nothing. Vacation. that's kind of my jive. But to do that all the time, that'd be extremely boring for me. So I have the same question. Why do, and I don't know.
Well, I know there's some people that, because, well, I don't know if I want to say this, but, my wife suffers with anxiety. And so I have to almost push her to go do things. And when I push her to do them, she has so much fun. And there's a lot of people out there that have social anxiety about even just going, say parachuting or if bowling or act. They're so afraid of making a fool of themselves that they would rather just stay home and not do something because there's that anxiety that they're going to make a fool of themselves. It's not a concept that I can relate to, but there's a lot of people that I know that would rather just kind of sit back and enjoy the day to day and not kind of make any waves. But if we can kind of push them beyond that comfort zone, maybe they will, do those things in the future or see that, maybe it would be fun. And I'd like to tell those people, if you're one of them, just go out and experience those things. Nobody is going to make fun of you. If you go axe throwing, as long as you throw it forward, you're fine.
It's funny you say that because that's actually where our keto channel came from. And then our camping channel spawned from that because we were both morbidly obese. And we showed up at this keto conference in Austin, Texas. And we noticed that everybody was walking around looking down at the ground. They never looked up and made eye contact. And if you've ever been morbidly obese, one of the reasons is you're afraid that you're going to be judged. And so you don't make eye contact. What are people going to think of us? And so that's where we decided that we're going to have this channel on YouTube where we're going to have community. And if somebody were to look up, we're going to be there. And then we ended up losing all of this weight. And as we lost all the weight, we're like, we have all this energy. And I grew up, I was a Boy Scout and an Eagle Scout. And I was like, I want to go camping. And Rachel's like, no. We live in Florida and it's too hot. We tried tent camping a couple times. We live in Florida. It's too hot. So then we got a pop-up camper, but they don't dry in Florida. So that's how we ended up in an RV. RVing really opened up my eyes because I thought that RVing was a cheater's way to camp. And then I discovered it's not about camping, it's about exploring. And if your goal with RV Unplugged was to challenge and to get people to do new things, well, I can tell you at least this. You succeeded with us.
Yes.
Because we did things on RV Unplugged that we never would have done. And because we did the things that on RV Unplugged that we never would have done, it's encouraged us to go try other things that we never would have done. I mean, we're getting ready to go on a cruise for the keto community next week, and we've signed up to go ziplining.
Which we never would have done before RV Unplugged.
Now, so on top of that, like boondocking for a week was never on the table. Now we're looking at 2 and 3 week trips. We just put a giant set of Big Beard batteries into our brand new, RV.
So nice.
And we just did a 4-week road trip. We'd never been camping more than 4 days other than RV Unplugged. So we literally drove from here to Elkhart, Indiana, across to New York, back down, took a month. And it was amazing. We got to explore so many different things because of our RV.
Have you found personally that this has challenged you to try new adventures? I mean, you guys already seem like you're up for doing cool things, new things. You're not afraid to do new things, but how has this impacted your personal sense of adventure?
I think it just kind of fuels that sense of adventure that's, I think, within all of us. And I think even for us, I mean, we're comfortable where we're at, but looking at this and quite honestly, with the show is, okay, what can we do next? So I'll just kind of leave that teaser there, but it may not be just contained in the RV community.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, our sights are always looking up. How far can we stretch ourselves? And we got some big plans.
That is exciting. Now, you gave us a little... Like you said earlier, keto, carnivore. I heard those words in there. Those are familiar words to me. That keto and carnivore way of eating. Mm-hmm. So you guys actually practice a similar way of eating to us. How did that come to be?
Well, when I found out that there was a diet where I could eat ribeye every day, that's finally something I can get behind. I don't know if I woke up in some kind of bizarro land or something where everything was the opposite of what you've been told all your life. And I didn't know what to believe, but I was willing to take a leap of faith. And I've been eating ribeye every day. I've got a 7 pound ribeye in the oven right now. That's why I keep looking to the left. I can smell it. I can hardly pay attention. What was the question? Um, it's once you get past the what I like to call the when you're in the carnivore, the first couple weeks. Once you get past that, things do get really, really strange. Your energy stays more consistent. Your weight stays consistent. Um, it's really weird because it's like everything you've been told not to do feels so right.
You
What
got
kind
that
of
butter?
results have you had on carnivore?
What's that?
What kind of results have you had on carnivore?
Well, when I first started, I was at around 240 pounds, and I lost. You know, I want to get down to 180, but my wife wants me to stay at 200. She likes the dad bod look, whatever. Um, so I stay at 199, and then yeah, that's it took what 30 days, I think, Todd.
Yeah. So yeah, you respond real fast. The first time I did it, now my journey goes back about 7 or 8 years ago. My mom, my sister, my uncle all died of brain cancer, different types of brain cancer. So I started studying that and figured out that cancer is a malignant cell that just keeps reproducing and it's just constantly consuming. So the thought was, okay, what can I do? Because if my family, I'm the oldest living individual on my mom's side of the family right now at 52, because it kind of wrecked us. I looked at it and said, okay, how do I prepare to fight cancer? And came across articles and whatnot about malignant cells just keep reproducing because there's energy there. What do the cells eat? That would be, of course, the glucose. If you can try and mitigate that, then that would help starve that cell, right? So that's kind of where it first started. It was therapeutic, but also, like I said, I played sports till I was 35, and so I could eat, well, anything and everything. I didn't calculate how much I ate. I just ate. And so I'm talking thousands upon thousands of calories, way above anyone else. And at the time, even at age 33, 34, I wondered how difficult it was for someone to overeat because I was so stinking active. But as soon as I gave up sports, I had 30 years of learning how to eat so much that didn't change much. And I ballooned up within a year, 100 pounds more than I was. And that's when I looked in there and I said, oh my goodness, what's going on? So it was actually going through keto, finding keto to basically protect my brain, that I totally dropped weight, got back in shape, everything else. Well, kind of the same thing. And that's whenever I met Stephanie. I was keto and, still in great shape. And then got her on it. She lost weight. But then we got into dirty keto because we started liking food. And for me, dirty keto is just horrible. So a reflection of that, and of course, cheating and everything else. The last couple of years, actually, so my knee has, totally blown out from all the sports. And so now I'm just standing teaching. Still think I'm consuming maybe 1/3 of what I used to consume, but that still seems to be way too much. And so I ballooned up. I had to go have a total knee replacement. And so since the last year, going back on, I've lost over 50 pounds, and I kind of mix it, doing the keto and OMAD together. Because for me, having an addictive personality, I can't moderate how much I eat. So if I limit my window, then that seems to work out. So I'm thinking by our finale rally, I'll be another 15, 20 pounds down, right where I kind of want to be.
Here's the thing is you were an athlete, so I'm sure you've been beat up. You played football. So I'm sure you had a lot of aches and arthritis and pains and all that. And, some people know that I actually had a severe car accident when I was 20 years old. I spent 2 years on crutches. I was in a wheelchair for our honeymoon.
Because when you go Rachel, you go wheelchair. That's how it goes.
Keto helped me get off all the anti-inflammation medication, off of the painkillers. Have you found the same results that
Yeah.
the inflammation isn't nearly what it was prior to keto?
I can tell you when I cheat, I pay for it. I get inflamed, I swell up, everything else. So I don't know if that is a product of being on, keto for so long, and my body's just not used to it, or if it was always there and I just didn't know. That's the one thing I don't know, because you don't realize it till it happens. You're like, oh my gosh, why did I eat that pizza? My fingers can't even straighten out.
Yeah. People ask us all the time, like, how do you know? I'm like, go off of it for a couple of days, and you'll know. You'll know what it. But you get used to it. I mean, I always talked about 20 somewhat years of taking anti-arthritis medication and taking painkillers. I had a very high pain tolerance. Like, I would come home with cuts and bleeding down my arm, and Rachel would be like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even remember cutting myself, because you get this pain tolerance. So you learn to live with the inflammation and not feeling well. And then when you start feeling amazing, you're like, oh, like I didn't know there could be something better. What did you guys think when we came on the show as keto contestants? Because we applied with Stephanie as two crazy campers. And the next thing you know, you guys were promoting us as keto. What did you think about that? Because our whole thing was to show, when you get your health back in order, what can you do? Like, again, our motto is live life beyond the couch.
Well, actually, I didn't know about the two crazy campers till after I met you. Actually, I thought you were the ketos, because we always called you the ketos. And then when we met you, it's like, oh, there's another channel. Because Phil and Stacy do the casting, so we kind of meet you guys towards right before we moved down to the location, and of course the production meeting. So we thought of you as the ketos, and we were excited because you should have seen the amount of meat we bought that week before the production meeting, because we were there setting up. I think we had to purchase 30 steaks or something for a few days, and just going to town. So I mean, y'all were our people from the beginning before we met you.
It was definitely interesting, because filming throughout the show without disclosing anything, there were times where you only had a few minutes to eat, and people were hangry. You
can let people know if you want to be on season 3. You can let people know. I mean, day 1, I think we started. I know we were going out there when the sun was coming up. And
I think call time was like 7 a.m. if I remember right, something like that.
I think the first break wasn't until like afternoon sometime.
Right.
Now there is a lot of standing around sometimes, but you can't just walk away. You can't go pee in somebody's cabin. That's a whole other story. My son, everybody had to go to the bathroom, and none of the RVs were set up yet. So he said, go use the restroom over there. When everybody came out, he's like, we don't know whose place did you just come out?
I was one of those people that he totally got hook, line, and sinker, because he's like, oh, Rachel, did you just pee in that person's house? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I was so worried. And then it was like, oh no, just kidding. And oh my gosh. But he really got me, and he was a delight too. Like, I just want to say, like, so Tony's son, Anthony, actually taped a lot of the footage of like the behind the scenes things.
Can we burn that?
Yeah, right. We should probably burn that footage. But was it nice working with your son? And for Todd, was it nice working with your wife for this project?
It was nice having him there. It was really cool. I've got now 3 adult kids, a grandson. It's nice to kind of get to know your kids as a friend. It's just a different role. So that was neat. It was an experience I get to cherish.
Well, I want to ask Todd, I know that Stephanie and you work together a lot, but this is a very unique situation where, like, like we said, emotions are high and all that. Like, how was that working with her on this?
Well, it works out great. She is a sounding board, because I have, as a host, I can't show a lot of the emotion to individuals. As a matter of fact, you'll notice, you guys notice that after I explained the game, I wasn't even around after that. We hire someone to come in, Ryan, to, go over the questions and everything else. That was one of the things I learned from season 1, because I'm just going, why don't you get it? And I'm like, wait a minute, I can't be that person, right? I'm the host. I have to be totally, hands off. So she does the same thing. She stays away for certain things, so that way she can be the sounding board or whatnot. Same thing with Tony is, we'd wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd go over there. We kind of refresh, and build each other back up. Okay, look, we got to do this. We got to get going. So you just adapt and you figure out what, where the areas are that it may, press a button or whatnot, and you go, okay, this is what I need to stay away from. Tony, can you take over from here? And we've done that several times. We look at each other and like, you take this one.
Yeah, there's been and there's been times where Todd and I have like, it's a very stressful time what we're trying to pull off. And I think if the thing that I love about Todd is I can tell when he's not ready to hear something, and then he'll come to me knowing that maybe it was a little bit aggressive, and it's just be, sorry, man, all good. You just have to have that compassion. You got to
Sure.
have the leeway, the understanding that when this is all said and done, we're going to be so proud of what we built. But getting there, there's going to be struggles. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of moving parts. But at the end of the day, it always works out.
I think that you guys being a part of RV Unplugged really blessed our marriage, because we kind of came in with that thought that it's like, okay, we've got to work together. And I mean, we've learned a lot as like working together for Two Crazy Ketos, because, when we first started, we'd maybe have a disagreement and be like, forget it. Now we're not taping anything the rest of the day. And then you start to realize that we can't do that. Like, we have to recover quickly. And I feel like RV Unplugged made you got to recover quickly from these challenges, because we got to stay in the same team. We can't turn on each other. So that really helped. And I think it set the tone for the rest of the year.
So before we wrap up, you mentioned Margaritaville and the finale rally. Talk a little bit about that, as well as the watch and win.
Oh, okay. So the finale rally, it's going to be awesome. This is where, one, you get to chat live with the cast on every episode, which is really cool. I love that we're able to do that. And then, everybody's going to be on social media. There's going to be a lot of communication. This is a straight up community. It's not like there's a paywall to where you here's everybody on a hill and we get to watch and cheer. No, you get to interact with everyone. And then the cool thing is at the end of the whole competition, when we're ready to crown the champion, you get to come hang out with everybody, and we get to hang out with you, the viewer, the people who are making this happen, the reason we're doing this. And we're going to put a bunch of games together. If you want to try out for season 3, we're going to be able to do that. There's a lot of fun things that we have planned. But the coolest thing is it's indoors with air conditioning, a big screen, nice surround sound. We're going to watch the finale rally together and crown the winner and just have a really cool party afterwards.
Watch it with 500 of your closest friends. And I will tell you, that's an experience like none other. I know from time to time, you may throw a party and you have, 10 or 15 guests over to watch something, and you do it with a couple hundred people. And, because we're simulcasting this, right? And so the audience who's actually going to be there during the finale rally, they don't know who have won and they don't know how they got there. So we get to hear the gasps, the cheers and the boos or whatever there may be. And we're like, oh, because that was an experience we weren't ready for in season 1. And we did that. We were like, I think it'd be really neat that we do it this way. And then from there, we were like, oh, did you hear this? Did you hear all that? And even for us on a lot of it, we don't know things that happen. You asked, going through all the episodes, I don't get to see all of it. And again, because I'm away, actually, I get to, whenever I first watched it, I went, they said what? I don't even get to know what was said until they send me the clips and everything. And so it's really fun to have everyone together at the same time, as there's this huge reveal. It's an amazing opportunity, something that we didn't kind of envision, but oh my gosh, how awesome is it?
Yeah, it was deafening when the winner was announced for season one. It was like of course, we sent off a bunch of confetti guns and stuff, and the cheering was so loud. It was very emotional. Now, the watch and win is new. That's something that we launched this year. And we wanted to find a way to kind of connect the cool sponsors that we have with the cool audience that we have. Because, we want to reward the sponsors, with business, because they're fronting the bill to help build this community. And, what a better way than to give away some stuff. So the watch and win, I think there's over $70,000 in giveaways.
Wow.
And all you got to do is go to the website, rvunpluggedtv.com, click over on watch and win. And right now, I think there's like 9 contests going on, from a big beard battery to independent suspension from More Ride. There's Salty is giving away a year supply. I love drinking my Salty. Right there.
I was peeping that on Todd there.
Yeah. Liquefied is giving away stuff. Rich Solar. You got to go to the website and see. And, you can play them all or just pick and choose which ones you want to do. And it's not like it's a game. You just, some of them, go watch this video, go follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, and you get entry points for everything you do. So for the stuff you really want, do all the entry points. So More Ride, the independent suspension, if you want that, that's a big win right there.
Seriously.
Isn't there also a ceramic coating as well?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a ceramic
I kind of
coating.
want to win that.
So if you go to rvunpluggedtv.com, click on watch and win, go to the ceramic coating. So by Master Applied.
By Master Applied, yeah.
You can register to win. So
and you can even do your truck, I would assume, because I know that they do that as well.
If you're interested in coming to the finale rally, don't delay. You definitely want to book that. You want to be there. Camp Margaritaville, Arbondale was like amazing. It was just an absolutely gorgeous place. I know that we're going to be in August, and I know you're thinking Florida, August, hot, but we will have Salty there. So we will have electrolytes. Nobody's going home dehydrated, right? And then on top of that,
inside.
And it's inside. So there will be air conditioning.
A lot of the activities inside or by the pool. So it's going to be fine. And, for us people living in Texas, August in Florida is a vacation. So I think we'll be fine. Yeah, it's actually, we're going south for the winter.
Get to do some of the games that you see in season 2.
Yeah.
If you're
That's worth the price of admission.
That'd be awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for having us on RV Unplugged. It was an amazing experience. It's definitely opened up our eyes to some of the things that we can try. And I do encourage people to get out there, get in your RV, go to the finale rally if at all possible. I mean, there's even cabanas. If you don't have an RV and you're thinking about getting an RV, this is a great way to come and hang out with RVers, find out about the lifestyle, and then you can make your decision of which RV you want to get and still hang out with a bunch of people.
I mean, we're going to hang out, like the intensity of just like, you could ask Todd and Tony, like, what is it like to spend an entire week with me with my full attention on you?
Nobody wants to know that.
No, nobody wants to know that? Okay. All right. That's fine.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, it was so good to see those guys again.
I absolutely love Todd and Tony. And no kidding, like, it's funny, like, I wasn't kidding when I said, like, I don't know how to read Todd. Like,
Todd is my brother.
He is your brother.
He reminds me, even the beard. My brother has a long beard as well, and he's definitely a guy that is excellent at playing poker because you're not quite sure what he's thinking, but that really helps for him as the host. He can't have favorites. He can't kind of give away things ahead of time. Can you imagine if I am the host of a show and I'm trying to say, hey, we're going to go play this game, Joe? My face is going to tell you everything that you need to know. So he has to be kind of stoic and not give away the information.
He is the nicest guy in the world. I can tell you that.
Spoiler alert.
We ended up beginning to work with them for Big Beard Battery, and they sponsored our battery installation video. But as I was doing installations and working on the inverter, I'm like, I'm not quite sure about this. Like, it was mostly settings. It wasn't the installation, but settings within the Victron inverter. And I would be texting or emailing Todd, and I'm sitting there going, I hope I'm not annoying him, because you just don't know how to read him. But then when you start just spending like 5 minutes with him, he's like the biggest jokester in the world.
He's a teddy bear, and he's so knowledgeable, and he's so kind in sharing that knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I'm really appreciative to him for just how patient he's been with us, how great he is.
Because I'm annoying.
At explaining things. Like, he just really takes the time. He wants you to be successful. A lot of times, I mean, he owns a company, Big Beard Battery. And when you have a company, I mean, you have a product and you sell them, and that could be the end of the relationship, right? But he really follows up to make sure that you're able to use the product and you're using it successfully, which I think is incredible.
Even when we were on RV Unplugged, I mean, he offered to help me design my system, even if I wasn't going to use Big Beard batteries or anything. He was like
Great
coming
guy.
in and like troubleshooting things for me. He's just a super, super nice guy.
We also like looking at his, tech talks that he does, and also like just how he is as an instructor. I think he's a fantastic instructor. So if you're considering going to some sort of like RV tech school, consider the NRVTA, because it really is going to be super beneficial to your life. And I don't think that you have to have the end goal of being an RV tech yourself. I think it's just going to make you a better RV owner.
Well, if you can fix your RV, you can save some money.
Hello.
And then you can also help people, because RVing is about helping each other, right? And if you're out on the road, even if you don't want to charge somebody, like we have our good friend Chris, she's like, buy me dinner and I'll teach you how to fix it.
I
right?
love that so much.
So, I mean, there are so many advantages to going to the NRVTA, and they even have a home study course. So I would definitely check it out. But they're just amazing people. We are super, super excited for RV Unplugged. Now, again, we're going to leave a link down below for RV Unplugged TV. Make sure you go do Watch and Win. Then join us every Wednesday, and we're going to be live in the premiere of each Wednesday starting on May 29th. And then immediately following, they're going to be doing a podcast with the cast. And then probably the next morning, because that's going to make for a late day of like, the first episode. Then you have a podcast. Nobody wants to watch 3 hours of Joe and Rachel, right?
I doubt that.
So then the next day, what we'll do is we will release our
reaction video?
But our reaction, not now. Our reaction,
Taped.
which was filmed the day that each thing happened. So we had day one. We went back to our RV. We cried, we complained, we celebrated, and you're going to see all of that. So it's not us going back now and reflecting on what happened
we'll be
back in February. This is going to be raw, real emotion. And I will apologize right now. Some of that raw, real emotion, that's how we felt then. And we probably don't feel that way now, but we're still going to release it.
I think it's important for you to see what we were thinking, how we were processing it. I think
I wanted to quit.
It adds a different, interesting layer, I think, to the whole experience. And we like sharing our entire lives with you.
So again, make sure you join us starting on May 29th for each week's episode. And then also get your tickets.
Yes.
Come down to the finale rally.
We want to see you.
Auburndale, Florida, Camp Margaritaville. Leave a link down below. You can even enter to win and possibly get onto season 3 of RV Unplugged. Now, if you like seeing videos like this, if you got any kind of benefit from it, please do us a favor. Hit that like button down below. It really does help build the channel. But more importantly, what it does is it lets us know what kind of videos you guys are looking to see.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the bell button. And that way, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time,
Happy camping.